Welcome to The Daily Grind, a Bluff City Media daily podcast. Stepping up to the microphone is your host, Luke Hatmaker. Grab your favorite morning brew and let's get to the show.
Welcome to The Daily Grind, man. It's awesome. I heard your voice and then I was like, oh my God, that's Kenny. That's Kenny.
I feel gypped right now. Where's my song? Where is my song? What are we doing here?
I got really distracted because I saw you and I heard you.
Yeah.
And it's just, I felt like I was seeing double and hearing. It was really nice.
It's like Inception. It's like, what's going on?
I literally
here, right?
felt like I was being incepted and it was awesome. In case you couldn't tell by me talking, this is Kenny Stubblefield I got with me. It's the first time on the show with me this morning.
Let's go, baby. Listen, can I just tell you this before we get started? I know we got a lot to talk about, but the Daily Grind is a regular. So I take my daughter to school at 7:30. She's in the So in our car on the way to school every single morning.
Oh no.
Is your voice,
no,
your face, and I'm telling you, my daughter loves this show as much as everybody else does. And so I just want to say thank you for having me on, man. I'm actually pretty excited. She's going to be pretty pumped up to see me on here. So
that made my morning. I hope if she likes me, I'll take it. Because it's better than my kids. My kids are like, man, Luke, shut up. So I'm glad that's one of them. Yep. Oh yeah. See, Parrish knows you've been on the road. We're gonna get some. Kitty been busy. We're just gonna hop right into it though. Did you watch the game last night or were you sleeping?
Oh, bro, I should have been sleeping, but I was watching.
Why, man? So the Grizzlies lost 122-132 to the Sacramento Kings. Wasted Desmond Bane's best game of the season. Is that fair to say? I mean,
yeah.
No, go ahead.
I don't know what to say. Like it was bad. Like I'm even surprised it was a 10-point game. Honestly,
yes.
Like it did not feel like a game that the Grizzlies just. It's like what happened last night? I don't know.
I don't know either. The worst part about these late games is that you stay up late and you're trying to make sense of what's going on and you can't because you're also really tired. And it's just, the only thing that was worse is we could have had Tracy Morgan courtside. Poor dude.
That's the craziest video. I just didn't understand what was happening. The man was just vomiting and bleeding everywhere.
Like, I had no idea either. I saw the after effects and I thought he got hit with a ball. And then I was like, oh, nope.
He got hit
wrong.
He got hit with a speed ball.
Hey, that'll get you, dude.
Yeah,
that'll get you. That'll get
you mad.
This is what happened in the game.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Defense has disappeared. I don't know. And I think it's worth noting. I was doing my rounds this morning. I sound like a doctor. I'm not nearly that cool. I don't know where our best defenders have gone. I mean, excluding Jaren. Vince has not been great since he's come back.
No,
that's one guy that I was kind of all season. I was kind of hanging my hat on. When he gets back, our defense is going to get better, and that's not been the case so far.
Yeah, he's just not been good. I mean,
he's not been good, and that's the simplest way to say it. Jalen Wells was fine, but we can't beat teams that are over 500, and that's really scary.
I saw some crazy stats, wasn't it? Like what are they in the last, like they're way below. They lost 6 or 7 or 8 straight in a row to teams over 500. Like
it's 8.
And it's not even close, right? Like they haven't even been like within, like 6 of them haven't even been double-digit losses. Like it's crazy. Like,
well, and then you've got two games in there, like last night's game and the Cavs game, where they're not. I mean, last night's was double-digit, but the Cavs game was a 9-point loss,
right? And
it shouldn't have been. Like it's just really starting to worry me. And I'm someone who I'm an anxious person. I got meds. Right. I worry a lot, but I'm starting to not know who to point, not to blame, but it's like, I'm a positive guy on this show and I try to be really positive. Yeah. And I just don't know. I'm getting to the point where I don't think it's tough to blame the players when you see Desmond Bane having a 40-point game and John Morant having a 40-point game 2 games prior.
Right.
I just don't know. I hate trying to blame. I got to throw blame around. I have to. It's my job. And so I don't know who to blame. Is it Taylor Jenkins? I think that's just my way to ask you. Is it Taylor? At this point?
At this point, it's a schematic thing. Like the defense, we talk about defense, and that's been the calling card for the Grizzlies for years under Taylor Jenkins, right? Like their identity is in their defense. And I don't understand some of the decisions that have been made this year defensively. Like some of the schemes, some of the things that have been done. Like I tweeted it out last night at the end of the half. Like, what a fantastic job. What a brilliant coaching move to allow a non-contact screen in the paint to make a switch for Zach Edey onto Zach LaVine, who then drills a 3-point. Like, it's just these ideas that I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, why do you have to? The pick and roll, like the defensive switching is just, it's like either switch or fight through it. Don't expose Zach Edey like that. Like that,
Yep.
You kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. And it was things like that just constantly. And when the entirety of the defense is starting to like really fall off, it has to be, is it because everybody has decided we're just not going to play defense, or is it our the way that we're playing defense together, our schemes, our schematics, they're just not good. And I have to wonder if it's that,
I agree with you. It's really, really hard for me to believe, like you said the first time, that all these dudes just decided to not play defense at the same time. It doesn't make sense. And it's, I want to throw this up here, Wayno. This is, we tried fixing what wasn't broken. We traded a second seed defensive team for a run and gun offense, which it's my biggest thing. Where has it gone? Is it because we were a top 10. I mean, I would even say we did this one day last week. We've been like a top 7 defensive unit most of the time in TJ's tenure here.
Right.
Like, what has happened? Is it just we get these new offense? Thomas, I can't say Tomas, he installs his offensive unit, and they're like, listen, TJ, sorry, they made him get rid of his whole staff. Is it just, is he on his way out?
That sounds weird. I actually was kind of had a dream about that this morning as I was waking up, that Taylor Jenkins was gone. Now, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I kind of had it play out in my brain, like what that would look like. And I don't know, man. I don't see how. I do suspect this talent, this roster is as talented as it is. And I do think that there's a level of, expectations put on them that clearly the team is, I think, punting on that this year. I don't think they're moving as contenders, right? Like, I don't think, and so you have to wonder, like, how long of a leash does Taylor Jenkins get in this situation? And I don't know. Like, I do think the players will have a big say in that. I wonder what, the conversations that are happening behind the scenes are, like we're going to talk about in a second, but you saw them make some major moves, like with the Gigi Jackson situation yesterday. Like, that to me is not a nothing burger. Like, that to me says something to me about kind of maybe some of the conversations and discussions that are happening behind the scenes. I do wonder how the players are feeling about this whole situation. Like, are they still in with Taylor Jenkins? And I think when you're not in with somebody, like if we're talking about relationships, right? Like when you're not in with somebody, what's the first thing to go is your effort, like your effort to like engage with that person. And I'm just wondering if maybe that's where this is at with the Grizzlies at this point. Like, are they so out? Are they so kind of just tuned out of the situation that their engagement, their effort is just kind of gone? You know?
That's an incredible point, because we talk so much about the basketball element. That's the people, the human element of it is maybe these guys just don't want to put the effort in anymore. It's really interesting to just take a step back and think of it like that, because from what we've been able to tell, he's been their guy. Like TJ has been these guys' guy I don't want to say up until this point, but it seems like they have gone to bat for him pretty regularly up until this point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a roster problem at this point. I think that our top, I think it was Sane was tweeting yesterday, like our top 8 guys. I really like our top 8 guys a lot at this point. I think we've got a lot of versatility. We've missed Santi Aldama way more than I thought we were going to this last month.
That is, I think we forget, like, Santi hasn't been playing, and I'm telling you, like, as crazy as this sounds, and maybe this is an indictment on the roster, we miss Santi Aldama, right? Like,
yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's weird that, and granted, some of these guys are playing out of sorts. Luke Kennard hasn't been.
yeah,
He's good for 1, bad for 3, it seems,
yeah.
but he seems much more suited to be coming off that bench, like,
Yeah.
with them. Scotty didn't play last night. Scotty's been really good. This is interesting. This is something I've not, in your dream that you had. Did Jenkins move into the head office, or was he just gone?
Well, Daniel Greer has talked about this quite a few times on on the Grizz 901 postgame show, and talking about what it would look like for him to become that guy, become a front office guy, kind of like a Brad Stevens in Boston type of situation, right? I don't know. I don't know if he has that. What's the word? Gravitas, like gravitas, to do that. What does that even look like? I mean, I don't know what that looks like, but I do think that at some point, I think we're starting to see just. I agree with what Sane was saying, and I'll switch it for just a second. I agree with what Sane was saying in terms of the top 8. I think the top 8 roster is good, right? The top 8, the rotation is good. It's not good to win a championship this year, right? No. Like that top 8's not good enough, because I think those bottom probably 3 guys are just not ready for a championship run, and so I think expectations have changed for me in terms of, like, it still is frustrating to see games like last night with Sacramento where you're just like, how is this team consistently hitting 3-pointers in your face at all times and we're not adjusting to this, right? Like, that's just bad basketball, and that was frustrating to watch.
Yep.
But in terms of, like, what does this mean for the rest of the year? It just means that the Grizzlies are who they are right now, and they're not contenders right now. And I think they could be in the next few years. I think their window is still wide open, I think. But it was frustrating last night to watch that game. I'm a big NBA guy. But I cover college basketball a lot because of my time with the Tigers and things like that. I usually am able to like cleanse my palate of bad college basketball with really good NBA basketball. Like, right? Like, you watch a good NBA game and it cleanses your palate of the bad college basketball experience. Last night was not that for me. I spent all weekend in Fort Worth watching some crazy college basketball. I mean, Memphis played phenomenally well, but the rest of the teams, I was like, oh my gosh, these guys can't dribble, they can't shoot, they can't do anything. This is terrible. The refs are terrible. And then I turn on the Grizzlies when I get home back to Memphis, and I'm like, did I just turn on a college game?
Like, please, I just want good basketball.
I just need good basketball in my life.
I'm so sorry. You did not get it. You did not get it. And then it's nice. It's weird. It's refreshing to hear someone say, I think I just need to get to the point where everybody else is at and just be like, you know what? It is what it is at this point. I think that we're probably looking at a first round exit.
Yes.
I mean, just the way you got the Lakers, you got the Nuggets. I mean, all these teams sniffing down, like the teams that are Lakers, Warriors, Timberwolves are all streaking. I don't want to see, I don't know, probably a first round exit. And if the team is feeling that way as well, there was a move yesterday that you mentioned. GG Jackson got assigned to the Memphis Hustle. Thought this was interesting and pretty telling with what they think about where GG is and where they are at this point in the season, I would say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it seems like it's a lost season for GG, unfortunately, at this point. I think it's safe to say if he's getting reassigned to the Hustle.
Right.
Or assigned for the first time this year after missing so much time with injury.
Right.
A plus B equals C. I just think we lost. He's lost the season. It sucks. He wasn't looking great when he was playing. Right. And they were giving him a little bit. He was given a little bit of a leash. He started some games, but it just wasn't looking great.
Yeah. It was clear, and I don't think we can look at, I think the tendency is, for fans of NBA players is to go, like, what have you done for me lately? It's okay for us to go, okay, this year was like what he looked like coming back from this pretty major injury to his foot. Was real. Like, we saw what he looked like and it wasn't great. But we also let's not forget last year as well. Like, he is a fantastically talented player, gifted player.
Yes.
But I do think that there has been a level of trying to acclimate back into playing against a team or playing with a team that has a legit 3 guys who are the main guys, and Gigi not being one of those guys and having to fit into a role, right? Like, and maybe that's difficult. We've talked to Brevin Knight on the show before. Like, it's tough to, like, kind of switch that mindset from being the guy everywhere you are to then not being the guy and having to acclimate into that. And so I think what it feels like to me is there's been some bumps along the road in terms of him trying to acclimate into his new role. The role players for the Grizzlies need to be known for a few things. And one of them specifically is effort on defense. And I'm gonna be frank with you, man, like, there was none of that during Gigi's time this year.
No. And I want to throw, Daniel heard us talking about him and he showed up. So I might have been premature saying it's a lost season. They are sending him down there to try to figure out what's going on, to get him some run, which he's clearly not going to be getting with the main roster. My thing is, he's going to be the guy down in the hustle. He's not going to be the guy when he comes up here. I just don't know. Is it really? I mean, I guess you're sitting him down there to get him some practice, but, like, I don't want him getting the idea that he's going to be our number 1 option, because that's not the case. He is young. The dude's what? Youngest player in the league? Second youngest player is what? 19?
Yeah.
18?
Is he 20? I think he might be 20.
20.
Is he 20 now? Yeah, I
Like,
think he's 20 now. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not worried. He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, remember last year, there was that, and then, you know what, Uncle Buck, it might be just sending him a message. Might be, listen, like, hey, young, and you got to go get right, figure your stuff out. You're still part of this team.
But see, all that would make sense to me, Luke, if it wasn't like 15 games left in the season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many actual games there are, but it's like close to that, right? Like, how many more games are left? There's not many games left.
Well, how many hustle games are left?
If you're making a push, if you have not punted this season as an organization, as a franchise, and said, you know what, let's really contend next year. Let's get Gigi right for next year. Because right now, with 15 games left, you're having to play Lamar Stevens. Like, you're having to play Cam Spencer minutes. You're having to play
John Conchar
minutes. Like, if this wasn't a lost season for Gigi Jackson, just a season of just like, man, we're going to send you down to get you right, bro, like, Lamar Stevens and John Conchar are playing basketball for a team that is 4th in the West, who is trying, like, come on, man. Like, there's clearly something deeper than let's just get him right. Like, there has to be. You don't make that decision to send a player of Gigi Jackson's skill level down to the G League for however long it is, knowing you're in the battle for your lives for playoffs.
Yep. You are. That's so well said. And guess what? The 13 games left.
Oh, it's 13.
The 13 games left that Gigi's going to play to get right. If that's where we're at, if we're going to be like, you know what, we can really make a push once Gigi gets right, we're in trouble. If that's where we're at, it's not.
You got 13 games left. What does it mean to get right? Like, how does that? Yeah, ayahuasca experience. Like, what's he doing? Like, is it,
is he going to go into darkness retreat, come out and be like, oh, the light bulb went off?
Yes.
Man, Drew is on one. I'm going to give Drew said it would have been nice to have LaRavia since he's not here. I'll give it to him. He also said, or Marcus Smart. He also said last night was the 69th game.
Fitting.
Just get him. Go, Uncle Buck.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that one alone.
Yep. We're not going to touch that. If this, I don't know. I don't. This is just interesting. 13 games. I don't know what this means. We might get Santi back this week. I don't. We'll see. I just don't know. How long do you think he stays there the rest of the season? When do you think I don't know. Do they bounce back? I get confused how it works.
No, because I think one of the things that we've seen with Gigi is there's a level of, I do kind of I do kind of agree with what Drew Uncle Buck was saying. I think that they are probably sending in a message like you've got to get your stuff together, right? And I don't think that message is going to be taken very long to at least be delivered. If it's received, I don't know. Like, will it be received? I don't know. But they've delivered it. You were going to the G League, bro, right? But I just don't see them keeping him down there very long. I wouldn't think that they would. He's too good, right?
Yeah,
like he's going to be if the Grizzlies want to do anything in the postseason, you got to have Gigi Jackson in the rotation.
Yes.
You are not going to do anything if John Conchar or Lamar Stevens are playing in the rotation in the playoffs. I mean, I don't want to listen. I know
period.
Yeah.
We love those guys. We like those guys.
Yeah.
They're not going to win you a playoff series.
No, they're not going to win you a playoff game.
No, they're not. You're not going to have Lamar had his career high 3-pointers the other day with 4. That's not going to, it's not going to. Yes.
Well, he's coming off of an injury. He was coming off of an injury, and I still don't know if I buy that, to be honest with you. I know he said it specifically to Anthony on Twitter, but I don't know if I necessarily buy that. But
yeah, people say a lot of things.
Yeah, you're right.
I get it. So enough about Gigi. This is something that I know you've been watching a lot of college basketball. I know you've been swamped with this. The Tigers, man, they are the highest non-power 5 conference, highest seeded non-power 5 conference.
Yeah, they are the highest ranked or highest seeded non-power 4 conference team in the in the tournament, which just tells you out of all the mid-major conferences, all the teams, they are the best team outside of those Power 4 conferences, which I think they're probably better than half of the Power 4 conference teams. But anyway, they got a 5 seed, man. I was in the room when it was announced with the team, and it was wild, man. Like, I think the conversation around the Tigers for the last couple of weeks has been, what's their seeding going to look like, and I don't want to get it out. This is a long conversation for a short time, but there's a net rankings and predictive measurements that are used, metrics that are used to determine seeding, and it's updated daily, right, throughout the year, and it creates this big hullabaloo all throughout the year about college basketball is where's my team's Ken Pom and net rankings and Bart Torvix and all this kind of stuff. If you don't pay attention to this stuff, Luke, you probably, that's why your hair looks so good, right? Like, because it's frustrating, right? Like it's just pulling your hair out. Well, at the end of the year, the Tigers have been like top 15 in the country all year. They've lost 5 games in the year. They're 29-5. Double champs in their conference. They've played fantastic. They've had the most I think 6 quad 1 wins, which is like the highest level you can get. They've had 6, which makes them number 2 in the nation for that. They've been fantastic this year. Penny Hardaway, the head coach, has absolutely scheduled properly. They've won every game that they've lost. They've had 2 quad 3 losses, which isn't good, but it happens. It's in conference play. All that to say, coming into the season or coming into this tournament weekend, everybody's like, well, they're probably going to be an 8 or 9 seed, which would be devastating because in the 8-9 seed, you win that game, you play the number 1 seed in your bracket. It's
really hard. Yeah, really hard to get out of there. Like, you typically don't do it.
And then when it was announced, it said 5. Everybody was like, whoa, like it was crazy. It's deserved. They deserve to be there. But they've got the toughest number 12 seed in the tournament. Colorado State Rams are awesome.
They're favored, right? Are the Rams favored?
For the first time ever.
What? Oh,
Colorado State Rams, a 12 in an NCAA tournament 12v5 game. This is the first time that the 12 has been, I guess, favored over the 5 seed. Yeah,
man, that seems wild.
It's wild. But hey, Memphis lives off the disrespect, man. That's what they love.
Yeah,
they love. We're going to talk to Penny about it in a little bit this afternoon, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say, and it's going to be positive. Like, he's a good guy, but I think he's going to he loves to talk about disrespect.
Man, I as someone who shout out King Minks. The growth that Penny's shown as a coach, as someone who I'm just kind of like a fly on the wall. I keep more up with UT basketball than I do Tigers basketball just because it was beat into me by my parents.
Shout out to the volunteers. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that on this show, but but shout out. They are for real this year.
They're good this year. But I read all the articles that come up on our network about the Tigers, and I love Penny Hardaway. I've always loved Penny Hardaway, and just to see what he's doing with his team, it's just like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see him rep the team and rep the city. I love, he's great. He's just really awesome.
Yeah. As growing up as a Tiger basketball fan, my introduction to Tiger basketball was Elliot Perry. Sox, who's the voice of who's the color commentator on the radio side, right?
Yeah.
And I love I loved watching. I have so many fun stories about watching Elliot Perry play basketball, and then all of a sudden I got to see Penny Hardaway as a young kid. I think he's like in his 50s. I'm 44, so he's a little bit old. He's a little bit older than me. But I just remember going, who is this guy? Like, why and how? I mean, how ridiculous is he? I remember getting a limited edition Orlando Magic Memphis Tiger hat when he got drafted to Orlando. I'm just love Penny Hardaway and watching him play. Obviously, throughout his NBA years, coming to Memphis, the storyline has always been like, how awesome of a story would it be if the native son, Penny Hardaway, the city's favorite, right?
Yeah.
Comes back to the university and reestablishes it into national prominence on the college basketball world. And there's been bumps along the road, man. It's been tough. And I think a lot of it is nobody's ever questioned Penny Hardaway on his basketball knowledge. Bro, he's a savant. Like,
yes.
You hear every player talk about it that plays for him. He's a savant. But there's been a level of, how do I run a college basketball program? How do I build culture? How do I build? And it's taken a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. And it feels like he figured it out this offseason. And this is the result of it this year. And it's been incredible to watch, honestly.
Yeah. Well, in culture, I'm glad culture matters so much more in college. Like these kids, you got to get these young guys to buy in. You have to. Yeah. And otherwise it's all for nothing. And he's done it.
Well, and it's crazy because, like, even in the sense of, this is why at this point, honestly, the NBA experience is so much more enjoyable, because you do get some roster continuity. In college basketball, you don't have it, right? Like you have this transfer portal, you have the NIL stuff, which I'm firmly I'm firmly for players getting, compensated for their name, image, and likeness.
Yes.
But you don't have that continuity. Like the Tigers have had to basically overhaul their roster two or 3 years straight. But this team is bought in, man. Like, this team is here and they're ready to play. Now they have to face off against Colorado State on Friday, and it's going to be a tough game. Colorado State has a guy on their team named Neek. I think it's Neek Foster. I might be wrong on that. Neek Collins. One of the two. Sorry. My brain is so fried. I don't remember his name.
You got the first name right.
Yes. And he is a 6'6" point guard who leads the team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, everything.
Damn.
He's a beast.
He's a big old beast.
He's a big old boy, right?
Oh, God. Damn.
And so that's where you get a lot of this conversation about, can the Tigers win against Colorado State? They've got this fantastic player, Neek. He's awesome. He's really, really good. The Tigers lost their starting point guard to an injury in the tournament. What's that going to look like? What that tells me, though, and I'm going to go glass half full on this.
There we go.
The Tigers have a really big advantage in this game, and that's their front court. They have a young man named Musa Cisse, 6'11", defensive player of the year in the Big 12 a few years ago. Fantastic shot blocker, fantastic rebounder. Ain't got hands to save his life, but he can catch lobs too.
That's fine.
Yeah. But they got this guy who we affectionately call the Dancing Bear on their team, and his name is Dane Danger.
Danger.
Yes, and he's a transfer that came in from Illinois, 6'9", 260. and it's got. I want to challenge you, Luke. I want to challenge you on Friday to watch Dane Danger play basketball. He has got a bag of moves in the post, and I'm a basketball watch. I watch everything I can ever watch. I love basketball.
Yeah,
he has got a deeper bag in the post than I've seen in a very long time.
Really?
And he is ridiculous.
Dancing Bear.
The Dancing Bear, Dane Danger.
Dane. I'm gonna write that down. I'm working from home on Friday. I'm gonna get like all my TV set up. I'm just gonna sit here. I'm working from home. I'm not getting work done. I'm just gonna watch basketball.
If you're telling me Colorado State, their leading rebounder and shot blocker is a 6'6" point guard, they got issues in the paint.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they are going to get torched by the Tigers in the front court this Friday. If they don't have a guy, if they don't have somebody that can play, that can rebound and defend the post, they are going to get smoked on Friday, because Dane Danger is ridiculous.
Well, I'm picking them. I don't. I mean, I'm not. I know that the 12-5s are always the scary, right. But I wasn't really on the fence. But what you just told me, if they've got their leading shot blocker and their leading rebounder is a 6'6" point guard, it's like, get out of here.
Because they have the Tigers have a guy named PJ Haggerty who will probably end up being the best shooter, rated or ranked as the best shooting guard in the nation. Fantastic ball player, ball dominant. Guy who can defend, guy who can shoot, guy who can take the foul merchant, if you will. People love to call him a foul merchant. But he's just super physical. And so those two kind of guys kind of nulligate each other, right? Like they just kind of nullify each other. They tend to. But then I would say this, and I know we need to go, but I'm really excited about this game. The loss of Tyrese Hunter, I don't think Tyrese is going to play. I know Penny has talked about trying to get him to play a little bit, but that he wants to come back, and they're going to look and see what they can do. Based on what I've been told, he's not coming back. Losing Tyrese, the point guard, is going to be tough for this team. There's a guy named Baraka Okoje that's coming off the bench, who is a 6'4", 6'3", 6'4" point guard. Who is limited offensively, to be frank, and I think that's a fair assessment. Like, I think that might be generous. Like, he's limited offensively. But what he does add is, I'll give you an example. He's like Patrick Beverly in the NBA.
Okay.
Limited offensively, but a chaos creator on the defensive end of the floor. Yeah, and he's big, right? So he's big. So I'm wondering if maybe Baraka Okoje's defense is able to stifle some of the things that Neek does on the Colorado State team. So anyway, I'm more juiced up about this game. They could lose. They're not favored, but I'm juiced up about this game. I think it's going to be a fun one.
Man, I'm really excited. It sounds like the Tigers are going to be more fun to watch, if anything else. I mean, I can just say that.
They're going to play defense. They're going to play hard defense. I can promise you that.
I can't wait. Before we get out of here, did you watch anything other than basketball this weekend? It's Tuesday, so we talk about what we're watching. Because I'm going to give you a recommendation if you didn't watch anything.
Please give me a recommendation. I was in the gym all weekend, so
Do you have the Hulus? The Hulu.
Oh, I have the Hulus. Yes.
I think I saw Daniel talk about this last week. If you haven't seen the show Paradise, it is crazy.
Yeah.
It's so, I'm not going to spoil it. The commercials are like, something happens to the president, and the Secret Service guy is being questions about it. That's all I'm going to tell you. But it is.
Oh, is that the one with
the guy from This Is Us?
Yes.
And
yes.
Dude, it's good. I don't normally get into those like who done it, but by the end of the episode, I stood up and I was like, bah!
It was that good, huh?
It's really good. Paradise.
I'm gonna watch it.
Not very memorable name. I think I named it 5 other things with my partner. I was like, yeah, the passenger, the bathroom. And she was like, what are you talking about? But it's Paradise. I already forgot it. Watch that. Daniel, if you can back me up, watch it. That is going to do it for our show today. Kenny, thank you, dude. Thank you for coming on with me this morning.
Thank you, man.
No, dude. I'm going to have you on more if you came on once. So now we're going to have you on more. That's your fault.
Perfect.
We will be back tomorrow. It is Wednesday. We're going to talk about another Grizzlies game, another late Grizzlies game. Hopefully we can win. If we can leave you with anything today like we normally do, remember to be a little weird, just a little bit. Remember to smile. Just smile. Bye, guys. Have a good one.